Back, guys.
Welcome back to another episode, Down in
The
the
Billies.
And we're going to be talking about Star Wars today.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Where do I even begin with Star Wars, dude?
There is just so much
It's
to unpack today.
there is a lot because it's such a big franchise. You know,
Mhm.
there's 9 movies now,
Yes.
2, 3 spin-offs,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
still doing them. Well, I mean, so I stopped watching after the 7th or 8th movie. How caught up are you?
I'm about the same area. I stopped watching, I think, at the Last Jedi.
That was the last one, right, for the movies?
No, there's been some others, I think. Or no, that's actually not the last one. I try to remember the last one they released. I did watch that spin-off Han Solo one.
Oh, the TV show.
Not the TV show, the actual movie.
Oh, that's right. They made 2 spin-offs, right? They
Yeah.
did like some solo one and then okay.
And then there was one other one I don't.
Yeah, I can't remember them because
The Rogue. It was Rogue. Or
Rogue.
Yep.
I seen the Rogue one.
Yep.
But see, for me, I fell out of Star Wars.
A lot of yeah.
I don't know about you. Are you still into it? Are you still like all up to date with Star Wars?
I'm still into it, but I'm not up to date. You know, I still like look at stuff and like keep up on like info when it comes to like new shows being released, directors, stuff like that. But when it comes to actually watching and seeing everything, I'm not there.
What are your thoughts on like the new Star Wars? Because I feel like you had the first 6, right? Well, the first 3 movies obviously were like people's favorites. You know, then the prequels came and they weren't bad, but they weren't good. And then the new generation came along. And how do you feel about those movies?
The new generation, I didn't really like them too much.
Yeah, I didn't either.
You know, I don't know what it was about them, but I just couldn't really get into it.
Maybe it was the actress that played in the first 3.
I think
those 3 movies.
I think it could be a combination of the actors and just maybe how they went about with the story. I didn't really like about it.
Yeah, well, the writing, the pacing, and
writing.
all that. To me, the first 3 were like the perfect ones. You know.
Yeah.
I started off with New Hope. That was the movie I watched. You know, which chronologically it's the 4th one, but it's also the first one.
Yeah,
That's weird.
I was the same way. I started off on that one,
Yeah.
so it's
Which obviously most people did because it's the first Star Wars movie. And then I watched the other 3, and then went and watched the prequels. But I actually kind of like the prequels.
I do too.
I know people hate on them because I don't know why there's so much hate on them, honestly. But people say they just weren't as good as the first 3. But I mean, in terms of story, I thought they were still entertaining. You know.
Yeah, I mean the whole Obi-Wan, Anakin. You know?
Right. We saw Anakin as a kid, and then he
grows up,
becomes Darth Vader and all that.
becomes Darth Vader.
I thought it was interesting to see him grow up and then slowly become like the villain, you know.
Yeah.
He was just such an interesting character. I like Luke's stories too.
Yeah.
You know, Luke had a good story. Han Solo. I think
Solo's
he's
the
my
man.
favorite. He's my
Han
favorite
Solo's the
character. What's your favorite characters?
Oh, dude, that's so tough. But honestly, Han is one of them. Han is one of them.
He's like a fan favorite.
Yeah, Han's just that guy. And then honestly, I kind of mess with like Obi-Wan. You know,
Obi-Wan, yeah. He was only in the first movie, and then he kind of came back in the prequels. But I really liked him in the prequels. I like Darth Vader.
Darth Vader, he's scary, man.
He's the villain, but he's he's intimidating. He's interesting to watch, and I just like every time he's on scene.
His voice, it's iconic,
right?
Yeah, it's just
his,
yep,
yeah, like he's an iconic villain. Probably one of the most iconic villains from any movie at all. You know?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. So I just think those characters from the first movies were so great.
It helped drive it for sure.
But then when I think about the new movies, I can't name a single character.
Yeah, it's
what's the main character's name from the last 3 movies? Was it like it wasn't Ray, was it?
It was Ray.
Okay,
it was
I didn't
Ray.
make that name up, did I?
It was the chick,
The
Ray,
chick,
and
then
the one guy that helps her out, Finn. I want to say Finn.
The black guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think his name is Finn. And then
there's like some.
There's that new droid.
I don't remember his name.
It was the really one, BB-8, and then
dude, nothing will ever replace R2-D2, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Come on,
R2-D2, you just can't beat him.
But I don't remember any other characters. Well, okay, Luke Skywalker was in that movie too, but
yeah, he was in The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Leia was in, I think, The Force Awakens. I want to say that's
Leia. Yes, she was, but she was also in the second movie. But that was the time that the actress died.
Yep.
So they had to like cut out, like they couldn't get all the scenes they wanted of her and everything, you know. But yeah, she was in the first two of those like 3 movies. And then Skywalker, did he die in the second one? I can't remember. So it was Force Awakens, right? And
Yep.
it was The Last Jedi, right? Or was it
I think there was one in between there.
The Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker and then Last Jedi. Yeah,
Is
that's
that
right.
the order?
Yeah, or maybe it's switched. I don't really know. It's been that long. I mean,
Dude, I can't remember those movies.
they're not like
Memorable?
they're not memorable.
No,
They're not
at
memorable,
all.
bro.
Like,
It's like I remember a few scenes, and like one of them's a meme where it's like the bad guy and
the first one with the red
with the triple lightsaber.
yeah, Kylo
Ren.
Kylo Ren.
And
Yeah,
he's like, more power, more. Like I remember
I've
that.
seen that movie before.
Because that's a meme, so I
Yeah.
see it, but the rest, it's not there. It's just not there.
I don't remember anything besides like Luke training her to become the next Jedi, you know?
Yeah.
And that's about it. And then Luke just
He gets like shot.
and there's like a fake out scene.
I don't know if it's like a fake out, or if he's like a hologram, or but he shoots at him and like he would be dead
and then
when he
he's
gets
like,
shot.
No, it was a fake out because he like tricked him.
Yeah. It was a fake out.
That's
It
all I
was
can remember.
trippy. It was trippy.
Nah, that's all I can remember about those movies for some reason. And I feel like a lot of other people kind of agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know. And then what about the TV shows? Have you seen The Mandalorian at all?
I have. That was a big hit.
Okay.
Especially the first and second season.
What were your thoughts on that? Did it kind of start off strong and then died out, or I haven't seen it yet?
It started off really strong, and then it slowly started to die out.
Was this like the writing bad? What happened with it?
Just the writing just got worse. You know, the first 2 seasons were great, I thought, when it comes to writing. Just
Like most TV shows.
yeah, I mean it's the same director, which does a really good job. He's a famous actor too. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was in the Iron Man movies as like his assistant. I don't remember his name.
The guy that plays.
You're thinking of like when I say assistant, I'm not talking about like Jarvis. I'm talking about like his buddy that drives him around.
Yeah, I know
and
what you're
like
talking about.
tells him, like what the military's
What's his
doing.
name,
or
like Happy or something?
yeah, Happy. Yeah, there's like
The
Happy.
actor for actor. Okay.
That actor.
Gotcha,
Yep.
got you. Yep. I haven't seen the movies yet. I'm so
Watch The
TV
Mandalorian.
shows.
Watch at least the first 2 seasons.
The one that looked interesting to me was the Obi-Wan prequel.
Yep.
That one's out there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of like is like the backstory of Darth Vader too. I think includes a few scenes.
Uh-huh.
That one looked
They fight each
entertaining
other.
to me.
It did look really good. I watched halfway through the season and I liked it, and then I just never got back to it. I never finished it, but I liked it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I just got busy.
Dude, that's what I do with a lot of TV shows I watch. I'll like get like, those first episodes will get you into it, and then you just kind of either like it just drags on or, just get
I
distracted.
mean, and they keep releasing more stuff. It's hard to keep up. I mean,
That's the thing now. It feels like Star Wars, they took it so far, It feels like a
Yeah.
Marvel type deal.
really
like-
dragging it out.
Like,
I
I feel like it should have stopped the first 3 movies. Then they did the prequels, which I was okay with the prequels. They had purpose,
Yeah, and then
But then you did 3 more movies.
I feel like it just wasn't the same after Lucas left. George
Yeah.
Lucas just wasn't the same. Because
Yeah.
I mean, even though he sold the rights and all that to Disney, before he did that, he had plans to do at least 3, maybe I think 2 or 3 more movies
Yeah.
that were supposed to kind of go better with what he had started.
So he left, if I'm not mistaken, after the first 3 were done, before the prequels came out, right? Or was he there for the prequels as well?
He was there for the prequels, I'm pretty
But that was around when Disney was acquiring Star Wars.
Yeah, when they were in like talks and stuff.
Yeah, okay. I feel like after Disney acquired Star Wars, that's when it really took a noticeable shift,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of just quality and just the way they directed it.
Casting, directing.
The
Yeah.
cast, Disney gets a lot of hate, and I'll say it.
Disney gets a lot of hate.
They're trying way too hard to be like, I feel like woke nowadays,
Yeah.
And I get it, they're trying to like put a political message, but keep your politics out of movies.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's not what it's for.
yeah. And also I miss practical effects. I feel like
Yeah.
the
Just
first
like the silly stuff where it's like the iconic like dying sound when the stormtrooper gets hit, where it goes
the Wilhelm screen?
Yeah, the
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's like a meme in like the whole movie culture. They'll play it like in every movie. But no, like they didn't use a lot of CGI back then. Like when they filmed like in like the space stations and all that. That was all like practical effects on
set.
Yeah, on set.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's all CGI and it looks too clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you feel about like that whole like shift of
I don't like the
CGI?
shift. I mean, I get like the quality will be better, but it's just it doesn't. I just feel like it doesn't fit with Star Wars. Like the whole, like, cause like like remember like the New Hope, like the sun's going down, in Tatooine or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just that whole series like looking off into the distance.
This is an iconic scene.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
you don't get that same kind of look
That
vibe,
feeling. Yeah.
that feeling. Like
It feels like it's almost like it's like way too like fast now, and it's like clean. Like I said before, like the CGI is just way too smooth to where it's almost unrealistic. Like I don't know, have you seen the original Lord of the Rings?
very little bit, not
Okay,
much. Not
well,
much.
those movies have like a really gritty, like realistic look to them, and then they did the Hobbit that came out like 10 years later, and those movies just look like it just looks so fake.
It looks so
Because it's all CGI. Like they're just filming in, like these big, green rooms. And I feel like Disney kind of like have shifted all their movies to using more CGI. And Star Wars is just like the biggest example I can think of that.
Yeah, I mean, the look plays such a big role when it comes to a movie.
Yeah.
So that, and then like I said, casting. Like there's not as many kind of characters anymore. Like before in the prequels and the originals, you had like some really funny but great characters like Chewie. You had
Right.
you had freaking
Yoda with his little voices.
I mean, you literally. I mean, this guy gets a lot of hate. But Jar Jar Binks, bro, you
Jar Jar
can't,
Binks?
you
Oh my
cannot
gosh,
replace
dude.
him. Like
Star Wars
he
has some of the most iconic voices, I feel like, from like ever.
just like, oh my gosh. It's
Yeah,
insane.
dude. No. It's those I can't name a single character from the new
Name
one.
a single
You know what I
character.
mean?
I was able to name some, but I mean,
The
it's,
main characters, like
the main-
everybody knows.
Yeah, but like Jar Jar Binks is like a side character. Like he's not in the entire prequel like movie the whole time.
Who's speaking of that, not just Jar Jar Binks, but the big guy that's like speaks really slow and
Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt, dude. Yeah, him. Like he's another kind of character. He's only in 1-2 movies, but he was. I just remember him.
I just remember him just being that villain, bro.
Right, but like and I just can't remember any new ones.
Yeah, it's just not the same. I mean, like, I guess if you were like to rank them, like, where would you put like those main characters, like Luke, Han, like just those original movies? Who's at the top? Like, who do you think's the best?
Best character.
Character. It's tough. And then when I say that, I guess I mean like influence, iconic, like all of that stuff.
Yoda. No, I don't want to say Yoda is the best character.
Because he's like, he's wise.
He's memorable, and he's like he plays that wise mentor like stereotype kind of character, But he's also
he's not around the entire time.
no,
and
he doesn't have a whole lot of screen time. I feel like
And he doesn't. I mean, he has a couple.
as
fights,
much as like Yoda's like referenced, he's not like a huge part of the original movies.
Yeah.
Only when he lands on that planet and like figures out how to
Fights.
become a Jedi. But
Yeah.
I would probably say it's either gotta be Han Solo or Luke.
Yeah.
And and I don't like saying these two characters because I feel like that's the answer everybody gives, right? Obviously Luke's the main character, and he's a big part of the movie. But Hans was so memorable because it's Harrison Ford playing him,
Yeah.
So between those two characters, but hands down, Darth Vader is one of the most iconic villains of all cinema.
Yes, for sure. I guess for me, like, who would I mean, if I was to put someone at the top, I mean, it's tough. It's really tough, but honestly, I think it would be Obi-Wan, and I say that because
I
I mean,
want to say Obi-Wan too, but I
like
also
he's mentors Luke. He's in the originals, but he's also in the prequels. He's in a lot of the main battles. I mean, I feel like he's done a lot. You know.
yeah, I know well, obviously he came back for the prequels, and
Yep.
we saw all that with him. But just in the first three movies alone, like he didn't have a whole lot of screen time. But he was
No.
memorable in the
Yeah.
minutes he had.
Yes. Yeah.
He like Yoda was. He was that wise mentor, older figure.
To Luke,
Yeah.
and that's just how him fighting Darth Vader. The whole
Yeah, that
story
scene where they
growing.
fight
Yeah.
when they're like leaving the Death Star.
Yeah.
Gosh, I haven't seen Star Wars in a minute. Yeah, I know that was such an iconic scene and everything.
Chops off his hand.
Yeah, yeah. What were your thoughts on the prequels? Do you think they deserve the hate they got?
No, I thought they were. I thought they were pretty vibrant. There was more CGI, but I don't think it was too much.
Yeah,
I liked it.
It was before Disney they took over. I thought they were still decent. The first two movies were a lot slower than the third one.
Yeah, I mean they introduced a lot of new planets.
They did.
And a lot of new different characters that make things more exciting. One of those things being oh my gosh, I feel horrible for not knowing this. Like, what's his name? It's a Jedi Master. Samuel Jackson's character. I can't.
The guy that has the purple lightsaber.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but I just thought like
he was a cool character.
He was a cool character. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just like in the color too. Like
So you actually want a little story behind why he got the purple lightsaber?
I've heard it, but I want you to tell it. Yeah.
He was like, so they were trying to get Samuel Jackson to play the character in the movie, and he's like, I'll agree on one condition. You give me a purple lightsaber. It's like, I don't care if it makes no sense for the story. You give me a purple lightsaber. And then they give him a purple lightsaber.
It's like the most unique color too.
Yeah.
Of, like all the lightsabers.
I don't know what like lore reason it fits in, but he just has a purple lightsaber.
He just has a
'cause he
purple
wanted
lightsaber,
one,
yeah.
which is a very Samuel L. Jackson thing to do.
Yeah.
But no, the first one definitely. The only thing I didn't like was the time jumping.
Oh yeah.
Between movies, because you saw Luke as a little kid, and then it jumped to like when he was like a teenager, almost adult,
and then literally adult. Yeah.
and then adult, and then Darth Vader. But
What are some from your watching experience? What are some of those biggest memorable moments? I guess like most iconic scenes you think.
wow, that's a good question because there's so many. I
There
feel like
is,
Star
there
Wars
is.
is such like a memorable film.
You could say so many scenes.
First of all, Star Wars came around a time I feel like we had the most iconic movies ever. The 70s to 80s periods.
yes.
When I think of old classic movies, that's
in there.
that movie, And I grew up watching this with my dad. My dad was the one that showed me Star Wars. I have
Yup,
such a
that's
special memory of watching those first three movies,
Yup.
Like you said before, the sunset scene where he's on Taboo and everything.
And the
music playing,
yeah.
dude.
Oh gosh, so
Iconic
good.
scene. The other one is when Han Solo shows up on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even just like some of the smaller scenes that aren't really like or massive or have such a big play in the story, just kind of memorable. Like in the original trilogy, they're like on the Millennium Falcon and they're like playing freaking that space game with Chewbacca. I think Luke is playing it with him or somebody is. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And Han's just like, don't mess with the Wookiee. Don't cheat it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it just stuff like that is
A lot of Yoda scenes too.
yeah. A lot of Yoda
like,
scenes.
Like a lot of his speeches I always thought were interesting, He kind of gives me like, I know our last video we talked about Master Oogway. Like those kind of vibes,
Yep,
where he's so memorable and iconic, like mentor figure. Also the scene where he's hanging on to the pole and then Darth Vader says that he's his father,
Oh yeah.
That scene, that one's memorable. Dude, I can go on all day about memorable scenes. Like, I feel like those first three movies have so
when they're
many.
in the freaking trash chute or whatever, and they're trying to get out. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
When Han Solo gets frozen.
Yeah.
Yep.
He used to break him out, bro. It's so like his whole like this character arc is so good too. Like from
He
him,
kind of has like a little redemption, right? Because he's like this
Yeah,
like
it's a little
space
bit-
pirate kind of guy, right?
Yeah, like he space pirate type deal where he like does some bad things, bounties, steals money, does some
Yeah.
bad jobs, to make some money or
He was
whatever.
basically a Sigma male.
We're back on Sigma males.
Back in Sigma male. I think we mentioned something about this, but he was like this lone wolf kind of character. He had Chewbacca too, but and then he
Yeah.
slowly became like this supporter of the group, and
Yeah, this main hero, he was super brave. He wins an award or a medal of honor or whatever.
yeah, and then he didn't he have like a little romantic interest with Leia
Yep. They have kids.
before
Yeah. Before.
before Luke and Leia. Remember when they kissed in that
Yeah,
one scene?
they didn't know. Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, it's funny.
Uh.
Oh, dude, you know those little characters in the sixth movie? Okay, I said sixth movie chronologically, where they're in those like big forests. It's like kind of like a redwood forest.
Ewoks. Dude,
Yeah.
I know they're so cute. And they're cute, but they're also scary, bro. I couldn't people have made mods and stuff in Star Wars Battlefront of with Ewoks where it's at night and they just ambush you like Vietnam type stuff. It's they're in the trees, they're just screaming and chanting. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Bro, no, those. That's what I remember about that movie. There was a trailer for Ark, which is like a dinosaur game, and they had like a little trailer with Ewoks running around the forest and everything. I thought it was really cool. But no, that was what I remember about that movie. Got any iconic scenes that you can name anymore?
Oh man, I mean, there's so many.
Right.
I mean, freaking when. Obviously, Anakin tells Padme, or Padme's you're not the same anymore. I don't know you anymore. Or whatever. You don't love me.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yep.
People always talk about, obviously, Obi-Wan. Anakin, I have the high ground. Can't forget about that one.
I hate you.
One I think about, too, which I think is really random, but I always remember, is, in the originals, when Obi-Wan dies, just gets sliced in half by Vader randomly.
Oh yeah.
And then Luke's Obi-Wan or whatever.
Yeah.
So many good ones. I mean, even just when Luke is on the I don't remember what movie it is, what number specifically, but in the originals when he's saving Leia and Han on the boat from Jar Jar and he's fighting
6-1.
Yeah, but fighting Boba Fett, and that's that whole scene where everybody hits him into the Starlight Pit.
Yeah. I think that's the beginning of the sixth movie. Dude, but also the music.
Oh, you know what? I just love one more scene. One of my favorite scenes, I think, is when they're on Hoth and Luke gets taken by that abominable abominable creature or whatever in the cave and almost dies.
Yeah, and he gets hung up.
Yeah, he's hung up, bro. That's probably one of my favorite scenes, bro.
Right, from the fifth movie. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, Empire Strikes Back. But dude, the soundtracks for those movies.
So good as well.
The one I always think of, and so many people always reference, is the Duel of the Fates, I believe it's called.
Yep.
When they're fighting on the... Yeah. That one's so good. And then the one where he's on Taboo looking through the sunset, that very ambient sound and everything. And then the intro music.
The title card.
The credits.
Even from the beginning, you just knew this movie was going to be something special because just back in the day, you don't see a lot of movies starting off like that, just randomly just credits like that
right.
rolling.
It's
You
a whole
don't
synopsis.
see that. Yeah, a whole synopsis of what's been going on. That's how you know Lucas had a plan. He had this thing set up and ready to go. He knew.
He was so good at story building, and everything. And like I said, he used practical effects, and he took a lot of time with those movies. Something that I felt like Disney lost when they took over and did the sequels and the TV shows. And I know people say the TV shows are good. I just don't think they have the same quality.
It's just not. I mean, their biggest thing that they had running for them when they first did it was Baby Yoda. Such a big thing. And
that
I
was
think
a meme, yeah.
It was cool. I digged it. I really did dig it.
Yeah.
But I think it was also a little bit of a cash grab because it's now you're getting parents and stuff it's little Baby Yoda or whatever.
Yeah. It feels like a gimmick almost. What if we did Yoda but he's a baby?
Yes, yeah. I was it's.
I just feel like he didn't add. I feel like Yoda was who he was in the original movies was perfect. He didn't have to have a backstory or anything.
Yeah, he didn't.
He was that wise mentor figure, and that's all he needed to be. Now, Anakin made sense because we wanted to see how he became Darth Vader.
Exactly.
His story made sense. Yoda was just not necessary.
It's not. I mean, and I don't even think like Baby Yoda or whatever. If you want me to call him by his technical name, Grogu, you know, I don't think he's supposed to be a prequel to Yoda. I think he's just supposed to be another or similar, like the same species as Yoda, but just different person. But the thing is, though, like now that you have this stuff, now that you introduced it, like, what are you gonna do with it? Like, are you just gonna have him be like a little child forever? Are you gonna actually have him grow up and become an actual fighter? Like now, I just feel like, okay, you got him here, but now what are you gonna do with him? Right?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
he's cute, but he's not. I mean, if we're gonna be doing this timeline based, he's not gonna be cute forever. He's gonna grow up, right, and do whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I don't see what their long-term plan is with Star Wars. You know, I don't know how they're gonna end the series, and I felt like the first 6 you had it done perfectly.
You didn't have to mess with anything else.
You should have stopped.
Just stopped because.
But you know what they do with movies that turn successful is they make 20 sequels and they milk it out until it just dies because no one watched it anymore. That's about how it goes.
Yep.
You know, it reminds me of like a bad horror franchise, like Friday the 13th. We didn't need 10 movies. We don't need Jason going to space. We just needed 4.
Or even just like, you know, like those, like the first scary movie or whatever. People are like, oh, they're so good. And they made a crap ton of scary movies.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucked. I'm like, wow.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, having a couple sequels is okay. But, I mean, after a certain point, you just got to have to cut the franchise.
Yeah,
know?
you just got to let it loose. I mean, what? You still got, you know, all the freaking cartoons they release on the Disney, you know?
Yeah. Like,
and then
they have
on top of that,
and
all the theme parks and the merchandise and the comic books. Like, there's so much you have. It's like, why don't you just leave this little part alone?
Yeah.
You know, don't kill all of it. Leave a little bit of the original.
I don't know why we have like this. Like, I feel like we're right on this period where we're taking a lot of like 80s and 70s classic movies that are franchises like Terminator, Rocky,
Jurassic
Park. Oh my gosh, Jurassic Park should have ended a long time ago. Why are we still like rebooting these franchises? Not even a reboot. It's like a soft reboot, like 10 years later, and bringing back all these actors, and then these movies just like feel like dragged on. You know?
Yeah, it just feels. You know, it just feels like copy cookie cutter because it's like other people are just adding on to
quality.
You know? It's just not the same. It's not the same effort. It's like we just have to have the main thing in here, and then we're good.
Right.
So it's like, okay, we're gonna make a show about Ashoka, so she has to be in it, and the rest of it doesn't really matter as long as it's semi Star Warsy theme. You know?
And then we're gonna bring back the old actors because it's gonna be really cool and exciting for a little gimmick effect, you know. But that's all there is to it. Yeah, no, that's why I don't watch Star Wars anymore. I fell out of it too far, and then now it's like hard to get back into.
Exactly. I think that's why, like, if I do anything else, I'm finishing the Obi-Wan series, and that's it.
Done.
Because I mean, like, I like the Ashoka, but it's like I never was in it enough to be wanting to watch a whole show just on her.
Right.
And
I don't
maybe
even know
there's other people that don't agree with me, but that's just. I didn't find her that interesting as a character.
I don't even know who that character is.
I mean,
like,
literally, it's just a young Padawan that freaking Anakin trained to be a Jedi.
Yeah,
but she's like an alien. She's an alien. She's not like an actual human like Anakin and stuff. But
yeah. So I have no interest in that at all.
Okay.